So success, as we see, can be actually referred to as three things. First is a definite aim. So definitely there could be a definite aim that you would have in your life, but you can only achieve success when you have a definite aim and you do not exploit others. Because when you do not exploit others, definitely it means that you are having the right attitude towards it. Second comes that it can be an ideal that you would like to achieve. So what would that ideal be? It will basically a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So, and then third is a vision accomplishment. In that we always say that dreamers are saviors. And how do I explain it is in a very simple manner that if you have a dream and if you cultivate it properly, definitely that dream is going to turn into a vision, and that vision is going to be to become an ideal. An ideal is who you see yourself to become in future. That can be either a 2.0 version of that you are thinking about, or it can be someone else who you actually look up to and you want to become like that. So that is the best thing that you can ever do. That is, you can always want yourself to become like an ideal who you are always portraying in your mind, and that will actually come out as a miracle in your life and it will become true. So vision, when I say, is nothing but a promise, and ideal is what a future yourself would be. Second, we actually see that what is necessary for that. So in every field that you enter, you would need only three things, and these three things are very 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 simple. They're very obvious. What are they? They are skill set, the tool set, and the mindset. Now you see that any person with a skill of how to draw or how to paint would be easily able to paint out a picture. But any person without the same would be very difficult to actually come out with the same and paint nicely or paint in a manner which is great and is admirable. Second, for a painting to actually convert into a reality, what you need is a cardboard, is a canvas, is some paintbrushes, some paints, or the way you want it to be. So those are the tool set. Then coming on the third thing, that is mindset. So what is mindset? Mindset is the core of it. If you have the right mindset, you would be able to achieve the right result. And how do I say that? So there is a myth, and everyone believes in that myth that the honest suffers and the dishonest always enjoys. But I'll tell you that even the honest which is suffering is because of the certain previous vices that have been there, whereas the dishonest who is enjoying the success is because of the previous virtues that have been there. It is never ever a different law as compared to the law of Newton. That is the third law, that is action is equals to reaction. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And thereby, you should never think that if I am honest and I'm doing something with a lot of honesty and discipline, and I'm not getting the success, whereas the other person who is dishonest is always enjoying the success, does that mean honesty is not blessed? No, that's completely incorrect. So finally, we have come to how can that be possible that we maintain a success year on year for an eternal time, or whether that can only be possible to have it for a certain period of time. So I would say that there are two ways we can actually think about it. First is it is both ephemeral and eternal, and it depends upon you. It will be ephemeral, that is, it will be there till. So I have just mentioned that until you're able to do introspection and self analysis. Now, what is introspection and self analysis? See, Sigmund Freud actually put it out very nicely and clearly that there is a difference between introspection and self analysis. We are diurnal characters. Diurnal characters basically mean that we are active in the daytime and we sleep at the night. So, whenever we are active in the daytime, there are always fears and worries and doubts and confusions in our mind which are shaping our thought process. And all these thoughts that are behind the actions that we are performing in the daytime have a theory behind them. And that theory must always be again and again checked. This theory, when checked behind the thoughts which actually lead to actions during the daytime, are referred to as an introspection. But when we talk about self analysis, this is a psychoanalytic term, and it always talks about going beyond the conscious and understanding the beliefs and the systems that are there in the unconscious, so that you actually develop yourself in a very nice and a great individual who's able to achieve everything in life. Can it be eternal? Yes, it can be eternal, because when you are able to analyze and experience and finally get to a point where you understand that this has been the cause of my result, this has been the effort for my success, you will be able to maintain it. You will be able to have a watch on it, and definitely you will go forth and you will maintain it in a very nice manner. Coming on to the fourth, which is very important, that there are only two essential elements for this, and it is simply put out as purpose and faith. So if you have a purpose in mind, you are going to achieve. If you don't have a purpose in mind, you are not going to achieve. It is simply said every time that you can either be a person who directs others or either a person who is directed by others. So which one do you want to be? You must decide on your own. In purpose also we have two things. Either we have an aim or we are aimless. If we have an aim, that's a virtue. But if we are aimless, that's a vice. Why is that a virtue? Because we can only do three things, that is, think, attempt it, and accomplish it. So, when we think, we have to think strongly. When we attempt, we have to attempt fearlessly. And when we accomplish it, we would actually accomplish it masterfully. If we do that, we would be able to achieve our aims in a very nice, simple, and a disciplined manner. Whereas if we have aimless, then definitely that's a vice. And why do I say that? Because we have doubt and fear. Then you know that whenever there is a doubt and a fear entering your mind, you would always and always lose the battle before it is started. And I tell you that it is very important that we must have this battle to ourselves and have this confidence and faith over fear so that we can always defeat the fear and finally achieve what we want in our life. So let me tell you that many of the times it is believed that there is one man who is an oppressor and others are oppressed. These others are referred to as slaves. Now see, when these two people, that is the man who is the oppressor and the slaves which are oppressed, are believing in this, and the oppressed have always a fear that if they go against the tide, they would suffer. And this guy who's the oppressor is also having a fear that if he doesn't use his power beyond his ability, if he doesn't use this fear element beyond his work, he would not succeed in getting the work done from them. So they both are in harmony, but the day they understand that this fear is gonna result in a hardship, suffering, they would switch from fear and they go to faith. The oppressor would have faith that even without the element of fear, they would work for him. And the oppressed would have a faith that even without fear, they would be able to work for the person. And this way, neither he would be referred to as oppressed, nor will they be referred to as oppressors. Moving forth, faith when we talk about. So in Mark 9:23, that is Bible, it has been clearly written, if thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. So it simply states that if you believe, everything will happen for you. And if that is written in Bible, which has been the element starting from the time we were not even born, definitely it means that it is true and we must believe in it. Then coming on to the core of it. So what is the core? And the core is nothing but harmony. So far we have understood that everything is required to be successful, but everything must be in harmony. And why do I say that? So why? There is a reason behind it, that harmony is there in everything. If there was no harmony, nothing would have been the way it looks now. There's a clear and a perfect harmony between the animals and the humans that are staying on the earth. If there was discord, definitely one would have oppressed the others, and there would have been only humans or only animals. There's a perfect harmony in the day and night, because if there was a discord, then definitely we would be sufferers of the extreme heat that would be possible because of the daytime, or we could be the sufferers of no light and darkness in our life because of the complete night time. So everything behind itself has harmony. So either you can adapt to it or you can cease in adapting to it. So when you adapt to it, you succeed. Why? Because you've understood that this is a natural law of existence and this will bring peace to us. But when you cease to exist, you would fail. When you are unable to adapt to the circumstance or the situation that are happening in your life, you would not be able to see success as some means. Rather, you would see just as an end. But understand this is a means, not an end. And finally, you would be disoriented from the world. You would be always considered a misfit in that situation. And how do we achieve harmony? So it's a very simple thing. That is, my inner world always directs my outer world. And if my inner world directs the outer world, definitely it will be from within to without. and I'll be able to achieve it in a wonderful manner. What would be the result? So, Viktor Frankl, who is referred to as the founder of the logotherapy, has suffered in Auschwitz, which is referred to as the camps of Hitler. These camps were so dreadful that you cannot even think about them. They were killing people's faith. They were inserting fear. They were inserting pain. And still, this is Viktor Frankl, after all that suffering, had only one vision in his mind, that I would come out bravely, I would survive this, and later on, I would again write the entire stories, entire work of my life that has been destroyed in a single manuscript that I carried with myself while I went to Auschwitz, and so happened. So, when you try and become a discord with the existing scenario, your body and mind would actually act in a manner that you get out of the circumstance and you get into a situation where they're in harmony with the new scenario. And this way, even after such a lot of suffering, he came out and he became the only person to understand there is logotherapy and evolve this logotherapy to actually manifest what the people basically want in their life. And that single vision can actually take them far, far from the pain and the suffering that they're having, because then they would rejoice and they would adapt and they would create a new harmony for themselves. And this is because of thought. Why is thought that important? So there is simple reason, because thought always leads to action to an habit, and habit becomes a circumstance. So like George Bernard Shaw has said that if you are unable to find the right circumstances, build them. And how do you build them? You build them through your thoughts. And once you have built them, definitely the results could be either positive or negative. So how would they be positive? When you have actually nurtured a positive thought, you will experience joy. Whereas it has been a negative one, you would be suffering from the same. And it is a circle. So it's a very simple circle. If there is impure thought, what will happen? So impure thought will lead to confusion, would lead to habits which actually take away your energy, and finally you would find yourself in an adverse situation. Whereas if there is a pure thought, what will happen? You would have self control, you'll have temperance, and finally you would get into a state where you have peace. And what are the results of the thought? So basically, the world is nothing but a kaleidoscope of thoughts. How you mold the thought, the reality of the picture would be seen. So if I want to see a good picture, I would see a wonderful one. If I don't want to see it, I would always see one adverse one. So let me quote this anecdote. This is a very simple anecdote. One of the biggest criminals of the world was being caught by the British police and was put into jail. And he was told that tomorrow you are going to have your death sentence in the form of an anaconda biting you. And he kept on thinking that anaconda is going to bite me, it's going to eat me up. And this way, I'm always gonna die. So there's a definite thing that is gonna happen, and that is I'm gonna die. Why I'm gonna die? Because I have been told that tomorrow is my last day, and I'm gonna die because of a bite by an anaconda. So next day there was no anaconda present, but what happened was a simple syringe was actually put into his body, and he felt that this was an anaconda, and he finally died. Second thing is, our thoughts are always a fountain of action, life, and manifestation. That means whatever we manifest, it is gonna come out. If we manifest poverty, we are gonna be destitute. If we are gonna manifest riches, we are gonna live a luxurious life, which is beyond perception of the others. And so this has a very what do you call similarity with that of the body and the abode. So for suppose you have a house, and if you don't let the sunshine or the air actually get into your house, and it is not well ventilated, definitely you'd find a lot of diseases entering into your house. Similarly, if your body is not well ventilated with the right kind of thoughts, you would see that it is being absorbed by the negative thoughts, and finally it's losing out the energy and the peace and the repose that it was having. This brings on the next thing, that how can we actually ensure that our thought is always a positive one, so that it leads to a positive action, it leads to a positive habit, and finally positive circumstances to cultivate the fruits of joy rather than of suffering. So we have got just four pillars. And I would ask you one question, that can you actually think about what these four pillars could be? Because they are the simple ones. Well, these four pillars are very simple. They are mindset, health set, soul set, and heart set. And we build them one by one. Why do we build them one by one? Because it's very important for any successful person to maintain it, to have these four in place. If he is not having these four in place, definitely he's gonna lose out on it. He's not gonna have it eternally, but rather he would have it only ephemerally. Mindset, when we talk about, can be built by three things. Every day, if you tune into Strangest Secret in the World, which is by Earl Nightingale, either in the morning or in the night, you'd actually feel that vibe coming into you. And that vibe would actually keep your mindset elevated at every point of time. Second, goal card. So, why goal card and daily goals is very important? Because if you believe that there's one thing that is what you want desperately, without no second thought, you are gonna achieve it. Let it occupy the entire space of your mind. The entire life of you should revolve around it. And once that is done, I bet you that you would be successful in whatever you want to. And for that to reassure again and again and to maintain it, you must always have a goal card with yourself, so that whenever you look back at it, it gives you the vibe straight into your face and you are back into action with the right kind of thoughts, nurturing it. And daily goals should always keep you aligned to what you want in your life. So when these three things are there, definitely you can cultivate the right mindset for attaining success. Whereas health set, why do I say that? Because until and unless a body is fit, every fruit, however sweeter or merrier it may be, is a sore one to it. And so it is necessary that we must maintain our health. Third comes soul set. So everything in this world is taken for granted nowadays. And everything that comes for free is even more granted. So first of all, we must express gratitude for everything that we have. And secondly, we must pray, because you see, every kind of prayer has got a lot of vibrations into it. And those vibrations are going to come back to us. Why do I say so? Because as per the third law of Newton, your action will be equal to your reaction. And so if you send out positive vibes, the positive is going to come back. My inner world leads to my outer world is nothing but a reflection of how do I see it. So if I pray and if I am grateful for everything that has happened to me, definitely it's gonna be a fruits for me in some or the other manner. And finally is heart set. So heart set is very simple, because we see that nowadays, because of a lot of things that are happening in our life simultaneously, they are making us into a very stressful mode. And how do we avoid that is by meditation. Why is meditation important? So you might have a concept of meditation, and before I move forward to meditation, I would want one simple way that you think that is a right way of meditating. So there is a common perception about it, and that is meditation could be done in a very similar manner, that we sit down, we observe our breath, and that is how the meditation should be done. When you observe your breath, When you breathe deeply, and inhale and exhale, and you focus on your breath instead of the surroundings or instead of your body, that means you are meditating. But see, there is a different definition of meditation, and that talks about tight bubble of total focus. So, whenever you are involved in something so deeply that you do not bother about the time that is passing by, or you do not bother about the things that are happening around, you are actually in a meditation form of sight. What is meditation? Basically, when you observe your breath, you get into a state of mind which is different from the conscious state of mind. You try and achieve that unconscious step by step. And when do you become unconscious? You become unconscious when you're so focused in a particular thing that you forget about everything else that is happening. And definitely, with that tight bubble of focus, you have entered into a meditating state. This meditating state is gonna help you achieve everything which you want, and it is gonna calm your emotional aspects and definitely bring you the right results. So, with these four things in mind, that is the mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set, we would be able to get the right pillars on which the solid foundation of success would actually stand upon. What are the rules for the same? So there are only five rules that I perceive, and there is no sixth rule to the same. And these five rules are: we become what we think about. That's the sixth word rule that you must believe in blindly. Because if you believe that you're rich, if you believe that you're poor, you're gonna be poor. And it's the same that either you think that you're a master of your fate and that you control your life, you would control your life. But if you think that you are the reaper of circumstances, you would actually become a reaper of circumstances, which is nothing but a result of your thought leading to action, leading to habit, and leading to circumstances. So, if you think that you're a reaper of your circumstances, you're nothing but reaping the results of your thoughts. That means you must go back and revise your thoughts and correct them, because if they are not in the correct direction, you are not going to result in having a fruit which is merrier and sweeter. Rather, it would be a suffering for you. Second is imagination. So, whenever you are able to become an amateur, you see a lot of possibilities. Don't be a professional at all, be amateur. Being an amateur, you see a lot of possibilities, how that work can be done. And with that possibilities, you are letting your mind to soar in every possible direction to get a solution to the problem that you're having. In this way, you're able to curate for yourself a new path which will actually lead you to success. So, imagination is a very important part of the entire success process. But without courage, you cannot achieve it. Because if you are not focused upon it, if you don't have the courage to actually go out fearlessly and achieve it, you are going to lose it. And I have a very simple formula, that is ask. This ask formula is nothing but a culmination of three things. That is, ask and it shall be given you, seek and you shall find it, knock and it shall be opened unto you. Only when you do the three things every single day, you will not get results. You know that a newborn child, would not be given milk by the mother until and unless the child actually cries. Similarly, until and unless you ask for something, you would not receive. Until you go out and find something, you will not find it. And similarly, until and unless you knock on the door, no one is going to open it. And it's very simple. We all know it. That's an obvious thing. But we are always ignoring it. So let's have the courage and go out and achieve it. But this would not happen until and unless you are giving back to what you are taking from. We are taking a lot of resources from our society. We are taking a lot of things from everyone in this world. And if we do not have that gratitude to give something back, or sight to give something back, we are going to lose on a greater part of it. None of the great people in the world have been less philanthropists than others. All are in every possible manner trying to serve their part to the society by giving it back. And so it is important that we must do a lot of charity. And charity is not necessarily in terms of money that you give out, which is an important part that you must do, but that doesn't mean that charity should only be in terms of money. If you can give a lot of knowledge to people, if you can guide people, if you can help them in emotional manner, it's all a charity that you should do. Charity can be of money, time, effort, everything, in whichever manner you think it's possible. And finally, if you're not taking action, success is not a shot. It's as simple as that. But it should be in harmony with your wishes. So you see that we have understood a simpler concept of harmony, and harmony says that every month everything exists in harmony with the other. So there's a coexistence of everything. But if that doesn't happen, you are not going to achieve things, or things are going to get disoriented, get out of shape. Similarly, until and unless what we wish for and what we act for, if they are not in harmony, we would act for one thing, we would wish for another, and we would get a third thing. As simple as that. Now, why do I say so? Because results are always attracted when our actions and our emotions are combined. Emotions would always come for wishes, actions would always be in efforts. So, wishes and efforts combined together would give me results. As simple as that. So, we have come to the end of it, and this is what is the most dear thing to do. Why do I say so? Because until and unless you validate anything in life, you should not believe it. So whatever I have spoken till now, don't believe in it. That is not worth believing, I must say. Until and unless I validate it to you. So it has got two things. What is success? Success is not one day thing. You don't do it in one day. It's not an overnight thing. That overnight appears after a lot of years. So how do I say that? It is basically an iteration that has been done progressively. And after every such iteration, I got a result. I understood it, I analyzed it, and I experienced it. And finally, on the base of the same, I made a new action and got successful. Secondly, it is also a culmination of purpose and faith that we discussed earlier. I had a purpose, I had faith. I went after it. Once I got defeated, second I got defeated, third I got defeated, but I didn't actually lose that faith. That leap of faith was the motivating factor for me. And motivation is a myth. Unless you act, you get result. You are not motivated to do it again. So a negative result should always be motivating for you rather than just a positive one. So it's simple. I did an application, an experiment. I got an answer, which is what I analyzed about. And third, I got an experience from the same, and I redo it. So it's just an action, then an analysis, and then again action, and then analysis, and then again action. So this is a cycle that we must follow if we have to get successful. And finally, we have seen that this would not give us anything, but this would actually give us very important thing. This is that is understanding, power, and wisdom. When we have all three of them, we would be able to achieve what we want. That is success. Only with understanding, power, and wisdom, we'll be able to make the right use of what we have got in our life and finally achieve what we wish to accomplish. And why do I say that it's a leap of faith? Because that's a item of thoughts, first. Second, it's a crown of efforts. You might have heard a lot of people that when you get successful, one would say that, hey, he has been lucky that he got successful. That's one thing. Second, would say that, no, 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 he got a lot of favors. He has been born into a family where favorism is something he has been blessed with. Then there would be some saintly characters coming into play, and they would say, no, this was the turn of the time that actually gave him a chance, and there was this chance that he got successful. But believe me, it doesn't matter. What matters is effort. If you put in regular effort with a lot of discipline, with a lot of conviction in place that you must achieve it, you are gonna achieve it at any cost. And that brings me to the third thing, that until and unless your sacrifice is bigger, the result cannot be. Because result is a measure of sacrifice. You sacrifice little, you'll get little result. You sacrifice more, more result. And if your sacrifice has been great, your results are gonna shout out loud to the world. With this, we have finally come to the last point, and that is the single law of success. believe and succeed. If you can believe in something and go after it blindly, you are gonna successful. You are gonna get successful in the sea. And this would mean that after you're successful, what you want is serenity, you want is calmness, and finally, when you're at peace with yourself, when you are in harmony with yourself, when you have achieved everything that you wanted in your life, that would want, that would tell you that now is the time to maintain it. And not to maintain it, you must get in harmony with the things that are around you, the things that you wish to achieve. Your actions should get in harmony with the wishes. And finally, success from being an ephemeral thing for you so far till now would become an eternal thing for you. So, with this harmony in place, that you are gonna become calm and serene and achieve success in everything you do. With that, I conclude that with purpose and faith, and finally the belief that I can achieve it, I would be successful in every single thing that I wish to achieve.